Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with thelibertybeacon.com. And I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show. Hey, gang. Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics, Season 2, Episode 58, titled Self Sufficiency. And is it really a myth or reality? But before I get into that, I want to address that maybe it's just me being a little self-conscious, but I had a tooth pulled a while ago, and I still feel like I'm learning how to speak again. Like I'm slurring my speech. I feel like Sylvester from Sylvester and Tweety, suffering succotash. So, if indeed I'm not as clear in my speech and enunciation as I usually am, if you are indeed picking that up, that is the why. I got a hole here in the front of my mouth. A new hole there that I'm getting used to and trying to relearn how to talk. I actually think I'm better today than I was like last week, or definitely immediately following the tooth. It's like, I was so self-conscious about it then. At any rate, yep, got one of those in already early. For those of you, this might happenstance to be your first show. The at any rate, it's an ongoing running gag with the show. I am aware I'm doing it. I'm purposely doing it kind of as a joke now, a running gag. So indeed, at any rate, self-sufficiency, wrestling the notes, right? Again, I don't script, but yes, I do have notes. Is anyone really self-sufficient? Now, not to sound like Bill Clinton, but depends on what the definition of is. Right now, by self-sufficient, we all pretty much mean and accept as the common era definition that we are employed or whatever, we gainfully employed or own our own business. We have income coming in that we earn, merit, we work for it or have worked for it. In my case, I'm on disability. I'm upfront about that. I make no bones about it. Been paying into Social Security forever. Now I'm on Social Security disability. That is indeed an entitlement. All my working life, I paid into the system. I am entitled to get back from it, unlike welfare. There's no welfare tax. You don't pay into that. Unemployment, of course, your employers cover an unemployment tax to cover that. And of course, unemployment's a whole of do you deserve it or not? Or were you fired for just cause, but you're getting it anyway? That in most people's mind would mean it's unearned, right? Medicare, again, is part of the FICA. You pay in, you are entitled to it back. Medicaid is not. It's a welfare system. And I was going to wait to go into this at the end, but I may as well do it now. I'm already kind of getting off the track from where I thought I'd be starting. Community versus communism. Community is biblical. Community is based on voluntary to be our brother's keeper, widows and orphans, but the Bible also states a difference between the unwilling and the unable. We as Christians have zero obligation to the unwilling, only the unable. Communism, which supposedly is derived from community, not really, it's a bastardization. Communism, forced, edicts, dictates, not like community, personal responsibilities to our Lord and Savior as personally commanded to want to do those things, not forced to do those things. Community, charity, right? Widows and orphans, brother's keeper, taking care of others, local charities who know and understand the difference between the unwilling and the unable, as opposed to overall big government, communism, theft to redistribute, whether somebody is unwilling or unable, no distinction. So I could go on about that. I've talked about it in other shows, but let me get back to the self-sufficiency. Is anyone really, though, technically speaking, the absolute textbook definition of self-sufficient? I dare say no. I'm in a home. Did I build it? No, I don't have those skills. Somebody who has those skills and with access to capital to be able to build a house and then sell it to someone who then lives in it, or if you're a renter, self-sufficient, you're under somebody else's roof, obviously. The water, I don't have a well in the back of my house where I draw buckets for my water. No, the City of Wyandotte Municipal Services is a water, electric, and cable company. They extract water from the Detroit River, purify it, pump it through the pipes. I turn on my tap, there's water. So that alone, I think, and hope we all now get, is anyone really self-sufficient? That answer is no, absolutely not. Okay, what about Grizzly Adams, for those who will get the reference, the outdoorsy type, right? Grizzly Adams out in a public land forest, foraging and hunting for his own food, chopping down trees for his own shelter and fire. Is Grizzly Adams type self-sufficient? I pause because some of you are probably shaking your head. Yeah, I guess really that's the only person that is self-sufficient. Wrong answer. Where did Grizzly Adams get the axe to chop down the trees? Where did he get the gun or the bow and arrow to hunt his food? Where did he get the tools to plant his garden from? Did he round up sticks and stones and beat them into a shape of a tool that he could use? Be pretty dull kind of axe to try to chop down a tree with. So are any of us, anyone on this planet, self-sufficient, right? Most people work for another for a living, right? We have a job, again, to the top. If we have a job and we're earning, or we own a business and we're earning our own pay or profits, today's concept is that we are at least somewhat self-sufficient. We have our own money that we earned to then decide what we choose in a free society, as long as it may last, may not last longer, as we're moving more and more from community freedoms, your own freedoms, to communism, collectivist rights, and what rights the statists declare you have, as opposed to community and our God-given rights. So free to spend the money we earn on what we choose, which of course one would expect: the shelter, the home we live in, or the apartment building we live in, food and shelter, right, from monies we've earned. But again, that is kind of a quasi-modern political term definition of self-sufficiency that I myself have used, and hence the concept of this show, thinking through, well, indeed, in reality, we are all interconnected and interdependent on each other for things, for other things, to help each other. That's the main point of the show. Now, if you own and operate your own business, did you build the building you're in? Did you borrow money to start your business? All the people around put money in the bank or the credit union or the savings and loan, to harken back to It's a Wonderful Life movie, in order for that voluntary communism, community, really, right? The credit union is people who choose to form a collective of part of the membership, coming together voluntarily. How many times do I need to repeat again? Voluntary, 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 not communism forced to come together. Force, force, force. Big difference. Community, biblical. Communism, not biblical. But yeah, did you borrow money? Others put their available funds in an institution that you were then able to borrow. Yeah, of course you're paying interest. But the money wouldn't be there if not for others. If you had to borrow, you didn't have your own sufficient, you weren't self-sufficient funds to start your business. So indeed, I'm going to throw in another, at any rate. But the real genesis, pun intended, of this show and the concept of self-sufficiency was to get to this. The left, the Planned Slaughterhood crowd, the baby murder crowd, the child sacrifices to Satan crowd will tell you, well, it's just a clump of cells, which of course, yeah. Is it monkey cells? Is it dolphin cells? Is it blue jay or cardinal cells? And it somehow just magically becomes a human only when it comes out the birth canal? It's a human from conception, and it's a separate life. It has its own DNA. It has its own blood type as it develops, its own organs, of course. It is in the woman, not of the woman. Yes, it's of course from the woman and the man together, creating the conception that starts the process of a child, a human child at pregnancy. Then in the womb, it isn't her kidney, it isn't her liver. If you want to
do whatever with your kidney or your liver. Pregnancy is not disease, like replacing or taking out a malfunctioning kidney or part of your liver because it's malfunctioning. Pregnancy is not disease. It's not a mistake. It's not a problem. It's not an illness to be then surgically destroyed and removed. Big difference. But my point, tying this to self-sufficiency, is that is one of their arguments. Well, the child in the womb is not viable up to whatever point. With modern medicine, of course, children, preemies, are more and more viable than ever before. You've probably seen news reports of the supposed miracle child. Well, not really necessarily a miracle, but I guess the miracles of our modern abilities in medicine, if you want to deem it that, right? Preemies are living at an earlier and earlier stage of pregnancy if they have to be removed due to pregnancy complications. But again, a pregnancy complication does not mean disease or a tumor. It's not a tumor. And that child can then be removed without threatening the life of the mother, because that's a dodge, right? The life of the mother. As C. Everett Koop, former attorney, no, not attorney general, Surgeon General, thank you, Lord, Surgeon General says, the life fallacy. 9,999,999 times out of 1 billion, it is not necessary. Modern medicine could, would save both the mother and the child if there's complications due to pregnancy. So that fallacy, what about the life of the mother? Fallacy, except for 1 in a billion times. The other, rape and incest. Rape, incest, and life of the mother combined are less than 1% of all abortions. That is a complete dodge that they want to protect 99% convenience murders of the children for the convenience of the mother, and why when we talk about instead of life of the mother, they want to put in law health of the mother, because then it can be, oh, her mental health. Oh my goodness, it is upsetting. It is so stressful. I need to abort this child because I'm so stressed out. My mental health is diminished. Bull. Your choice, your reproductive right, is contraception. Once conception is made, once the reproduction has occurred, your dodge of reproductive rights is over. It's gone. It's done. But back, because yes, I've gone down other rabbit holes on another tangent. A baby not self-sufficient, therefore you can kill it. Again, not true. Modern medicine, at an earlier and earlier stage, a fetus, a baby, a human child in the womb is indeed viable if you take it out of the womb. But back to the overall point, if you want to play the word games and use it's not self-sufficient, I dare say you yourself, technically speaking, are not self-sufficient either. So how about, like I wrote on thelibertybeacon.com, months ago. I think it was last year. I demand my equity as a male to murder for my convenience, because that's what abortion is: murdering of a child for someone's convenience. Well, you're always on about equity. Where's my equity as a male? Why can't I murder you, male, female, young, old, whatever, because you're inconvenient to me? Puts a whole new perspective on that. And of course, they will certainly already tried to get this show canceled everywhere. Really going to want to cancel me now, because you are now armed with new logic, reason, and common sense that counters all the Roe v. Wade idiocy nonsense, which again, the Dobbs decision, I go into ChristiTutionalist politics book, didn't go far enough. They found the 10th Amendment again, but completely ignored the 14th Amendment, completely ignored the 100-year precedence of law before Roe, that the child in the room has an established right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness based on double homicide. If someone murders a pregnant woman, they are guilty and charged with and prosecuted and go to jail for 2 murders, 2 deaths, double homicide, the woman and the child in the womb. Long established before Roe v. Wade, which is why Roe v. Wade by the liberal activist court was determined on a privacy dodge, the privacy of between a woman and a doctor. Well, again, under Roe, I demand my right of privacy to murder you in my basement. The privacy of my basement, and to chop up your body parts and sell them off like Planned Slaughterhood does. Where's my equity? Where's my equal right? Where's my right to murder for convenience? See, word games. We gotta use them, the same illogic, the same pretzel logic, the same twisting and spinning, which, of course, yes, at thelibertybeacon.com, in search, look up Joseph M. Leonard. If this is your first show, it looks like Leonard. It's not French, it's actually Polish origin. And on my mom's side, I have Italian and German heritage. But it's Leonard without an O. Put Joseph M. Leonard in the search field at thelibertybeacon.com and look up my old The Twisting and Warping of Language, parts 1 and part 2, because this is what this is. Choice is a dodge. They're not for choice in what you can buy in a lot of cases. You can't choose what type of light bulb you want. Government dictates, based on leftist ideology, force you into what kind of light bulb you can or cannot buy. It's an illusion of choice. Choice in this case is a dodge. It's a deflection. It's a twisting, warping of language and spin. Now, yes, again, to be fair, the whole light bulb thing, the incandescent bulbs were originally banned under G.W. Bush. That idiot, one thing I didn't appreciate him for, I appreciate him for some things, but I hold this against him. And I'm here in Michigan. Idiot representative out of Michigan, Fred Upton, put forth the bill that passed and Bush signed. It later got put off and put off and put off until Democrats, who were all for it, Republicans, many opposed it and got the delay. But once Democrats had full control of the White House, the House of Representatives, the Senate, and while they had control of the Supreme Court via liberal activists, they forced what limitations on your choice of light bulbs. So again, this show is about self-sufficiency and in a way also about, I just dropped earlier today while I'm recording, I am recording actually Tuesday, July the 23rd for this show that drops Saturday, July the 27th. And actually, I dropped a piece at beforeitsnews.com at J. Leonard Detroit there. Joseph M. Leonard at thelibertybeacon.com. J. Leonard Detroit on most social media platforms and at Before It's News. I dropped language, use, and abuse there that you can look that up. This show is partly about that too, because that's what we're talking about. Use and abuse of language, twisting it, warping it, spinning it, depends on what the definition of is. And other pieces that I've recently written at beforeitsnews.com about, did Jesus contradict himself? Of course not. We as humankind, as frail and imperfect beings, are the ones that muck things up. We improperly translate things from the original biblical Aramaic, Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. We are the ones, right? You've heard me talk, if you're a regular of this show, about thou shalt not murder innocents is the actual commandment, not thou shalt not kill, because in the Bible, there are places, not from the song, for every thing there is a season, right? That part of the Bible, not the song. Turn, turn, turn is the song, but most of it in that song was taken from the Bible. And indeed, a time to reap, a time to sow, a time to kill is in there. So murder, kill, different things. Genesis, Leviticus, Numbers talks about death penalty on earth, killing, legitimate, for legitimate reasons, different than murder, self-defense, Exodus, thief comes in the night, dealt the fatal blow, you're not guilty of murder. It is a justifiable self-defense kill. Well, now in my God and Guns redo episode, if you have a 30-round magazine, clip, whatever you want to call it, and you're standing over the body emptying 30 rounds, that's not self-defense anymore. That's murder. Okay? The point here, distinctions and differentiations, they matter. None of us, back to the show title and point, none of us are really self-sufficient, but we use a definition of self-sufficiency in our modern era in the way I've already laid it out. I'm not going to go into it again. So indeed, to close it out, I think, I hope, I pray that the points have been made, and there are several, of course. Let me recap. Self-sufficiency, a modern definition versus the hard, fast, technical textbook definition. Nobody on this planet is actually self-sufficient, and the leftist dodge of self-sufficiency and the fallacy of choice regarding murdering babies in the womb and the like. And also, as side bonus, it all ties together. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Issues do not exist in a vacuum. They interrelate. Go back to my gray areas, part 1 and part 2 show. Things aren't always 100% black, white, right, wrong, good, evil, up, down, this, that, the other thing. Often there are gray areas, which means your twaddle attention span is pathetic. It takes detailed discussion. That headline, just give me the headline. Well, that headline you're given could be a distortion. It could be spin, and you walk away with an incorrect assumption or conclusion based on a falsified, purposefully distorted headline that you thought was giving you the news, but isn't. It's about indoctrination and manipulation. Same thing with, oh, just give me a soundbite. You know what? I could take sound bites from a Trump speech, as the left does, and present it, and what he said before that, what he said after that. Context matters. The Charlottesville lie, they keep telling. He did not say there are fine neo-Nazis. 3 times, look on YouTube. I'm surprised it's still there, but the video of the Department of Transportation presser that he was at was Elaine Chao, right? Turtle, Mitch McReynolds, wife, who was head of Department of Transportation at the time, and he made the remarks 3 times. He said, I keep holding up 3 with both hands. If you're looking behind the scenes at BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, and YouTube, look at, of course, you'll see my They So Fake Woke shirt that I wore today for this recording, but I keep holding up 2 hands. 3 on each hand is 6. I gotta stop doing that. 1 hand, 3 fingers. He said 3 times. I am not talking about neo-Nazis and white supremacies. And the lie about the Proud Boys. They are not a white supremacist group. They were founded by a black conservative male. That's why the left hates them and attacks them. A black man that is not on the fascistocrat's plantation. So they lie about the Proud Boys. And I'm sorry, I forget his name. I apologize. I'm drawing a blank on his name. But he is one of the J6ers. They, of course, trumped up charges. Yeah, no pun intended there. But they trumped up charges so that they could put him behind bars, and he could no longer be the face of the Proud Boys, so they could more easily lie about the Proud Boys. Okay, I've gone on and on. I've kind of started rambling, but again, nothing exists in a vacuum. All of these issues cross-relate. A headline or a soundbite don't cut it. That's why the show, and could go 3 hours, but I try to keep it to around 30 minutes, goes into details, because details matter. Facts matter. History matters. Context matters. So, thank you all. If you've not shared any ChristiTutionalist politics show before this one, I urge you, I beg you, I'm literally begging and pleading that you share this one via social media or via email to your friends, your family. Don't do it to complete strangers. We don't want you spamming people, but share this show, please. Like, share, subscribe. I know I've said it before. I absolutely hate it on YouTube. Every single video at the like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. But now that I'm doing a show, what's at the end of my show, every show, like, share, subscribe. If you don't ask, you don't get. Right? So, yes, please, 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 begging you from the bottom of my heart, like, share, subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics. Become part of the ChristiTutionalist army and fight figuratively, not literally. We're talking a spiritual war. We're talking a verbal war. I had on William R. Gardner the other day. We've also talked with Michael Gardner, aka Savaged of Savaged Unfiltered, which you know I co-host with him a lot of his shows, who both wrote books. Michael's is Today's Modern Politics, Our Modern Civil War. I keep screwing up his title. It's something like that, Michael Gardner, but about the cold Civil War we're in. And William R. Gardner, I'm going to screw up his name now, so let me check the notes because now I'm forgetting it. You know I'm good with faces, bad with names. William R. Douglas, his book, The Sum of All Our Anger, Civil War 2.0, kind of historical fiction like my Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, but his deals in modern times, what will be in the history books, the issues we're dealing with now, looking back from a fictional future standpoint, where we are in a hot civil war dealing with historical issues of our times that might turn the Michael's version of cold civil war because of our issues and division into a hot civil war. So you will look forward to that show. I'm not exactly sure when the William R. Gordon midweek Wednesday special will drop. Again, I'm sorry that it seems like I'm rambling, but again, nothing exists in a vacuum. Issues correlate and correspond. To talk about one thing, you indeed sometimes have to talk about another thing as they relate. It's all part of the bigger, broader picture, and all things in context, like I talk about this show, ChristiTutionalist Politics, is about the whole Bible in full context. Context matters. Thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate that you took the time out of your day or during your drive, if you're listening to and from work or to and from somewhere, or if you're sitting in your living room listening or walking your dog and listening via iHeart or Player FM, two of the three topmost platforms that people tend to listen to the show on, even though it's on 20 plus audio platforms, or sitting on your couch watching via BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, or YouTube at JLearnerDetroit. Video channels if you want the behind the scenes video look. Again, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to try to remember I know I mentioned it in like the open or the close, I forget which, but I do appreciate, as I cut this out of the open, or was it the close? I forget now. The open and the close are pre-recorded and automatically then cut, pasted at the beginning and the end. But the long open, I think it was, I used to say, thank you for tuning in, because as Listen Notes, a podcast platform, states, there are countless millions of podcast episodes out there you could choose to listen to. I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me and ChristiTutionalist Politics. And again, let me put on my parrot, right? Polly want a cracker. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. We got to keep a sense of humor or we'll go crazy. Got to laugh at ourselves, or we have no business laughing at others. Again, thank you. Take care. I am really signing off this time. Take care. God bless. Please stay tuned for the pre-recorded outro and the usual parrot. Like, share, subscribe. God bless, everybody.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff. No fancy high production intro or inserts, at least yet, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help to grow the show. Just wanted to give a brief shout out and thank you to all the folks on iHeartRadio and Player FM for being two in the top 3 platforms that my show, ChristiTutionalist Politics, is most often listened to. So thank you all. Take care. God bless.